Alright, time for more artifacts. I'm going to start out with this one. This was packaged by itself. No label on the envelope or on the bag. What happened here, it looks like it cracked. If I can show you, right there, see the crack? This looks like the last flake that was taken. So yeah, this, during the preliminary process of thinning it down, it cracked, so it was discarded and not used for anything else. But what's interesting is how wonky it is. It's not perfectly straight as far as the surface. You know, they leave it kind of wonky. They don't attempt to straighten it, or at least this guy did not attempt to straighten it, but there's obviously a high level of skill in thinning it. I got my calipers this time. Let's see what this is. We'll do it in millimeters since that's easier. 60 by 10, 6:1. And it looks like it's 6:1 with just percussion. Now if I touch the edges here, and if you look, I hope the lighting is okay. There's no heavy grinding in between. Normally when there's a lot of percussion flakes removed, there's grinding in between. But you might say, well, that's because they only ground right where they were going to hit. Yeah, could be. But it takes time. You know, you grind it, hit it, pick up the grinding stone again, grind it, put it down, hit it, and then move over, take the grinding stone, pick it up. It's just a lot of picking up and putting down. But yeah, there's no, it does not look like there's a braiding, and if there is, it's very light in between the strikes. You can't see it. You actually need to hold this artifact and examine it. The edges feel kind of sharp, especially right there. I took a flake right there. This normally is tough stone, this kind of stuff, but heat treating it works really well. So I would say this is either a high grade version of this particular type of stone, or it was heat treated. Because trying to do this when it's raw and tough is not really feasible. Even with copper and steel tools, doing this in a raw state is very difficult to get the 6:1 like this, especially if there's no grinding on the edges. I got my focus to kind of work right, but I still see that in focus, and this is kind of not as in focus. But anyway, that's the first one on the agenda. We got a whole lot more. Oh yes. I don't know, did I go through these yet? I don't think I did. And I still did not look to see what I had posted on my other videos. I'm going to be putting each one of these in bags separately, so they will no longer be rubbing against each other like this. Alright, so this one looks like it's broken in manufacture. Again, there's no abrading. And all you guys that are abraders, abraded, abraded, abraded. There's no abrading in between the strikes. It's all kind of sharp. And it looks like there was one one hit that was too aggressive. Although I'm not sure why they would leave that barb off. Although that might be just a ding. There might have been a barb on there and it just broke in the ground. But they left a little step fracture. What I notice is all the edges have the same treatment. No matter where the edge is, it's all done the same way. On most of these, they don't differentiate between the bottom edge and the side edge with their techniques. It all feels the same as far as sharpness, and then edge quality. It all feels about the same. So they use the same basic technique all the way around to do the edges. I'm not going to go through and tell you if it's heat treat or not. I just mentioned that one, the first one, because I know that kind of stone. This one has a patina on it, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of stone this is. Alright. This is a tough piece of stone right here for sure. This one does feel ground. But I think it's a completed piece, just broken. The tip's broken. Yes, a lot of these are broken. I mean, not a lot. All of these are broken in some way. That's why I was allowed to borrow the collection. Yeah. This has concrete in it right there. So it does look like a completed piece, but you never know. This is a Nolan. It's beveled there. Flip it over. Beveled there. See, they just pressure flake downward. Flip it, pressure flake downward, and they get that little bevel. That's how I know it's a Nolan. All right. But other points were made that way too. Pandales, I think, were made that way. I think. I'm going to go through these rather quickly. These, believe it or not, these are at ladle dart points, even though they could be put on arrow shafts. See these little points? These are all archaic points. None of these are historic or late prehistoric. These are all archaics. Okay? And they're small. That means that ladle darts had small points sometimes. 7/8 across. It was probably about 1.25 inches long. It lost its tip. And it's thin enough to put on an arrow. But these are not arrow points. This one's got a curve in it. What was it? It's got an original surface. Maybe a pendant. I would tend to think that these curved ones are just decorations or ornaments. That's my opinion on it. This has an impact fracture on it. Crudely made, quickly made, and crudely made on a tough chert. Yeah, these are tough cherts. They can be heat treated, but these look like they're not heat treated. Like I said, I won't get into that too much. This one also has a curve in it, but I think it's damaged. But you can see that either it was really thick before it got to the tip, or it was curved. These are from all different cultures and different time periods, but from basically the same site. The site was occupied for thousands of years. Right, this site here, I think it's all from, or most of it's from this site here. They got an archaeological designation. This edge is pretty sharp. Let's see. Let me get my little dart foreshafts. Oh, I got them already. I want to see how thick. It's too thick for that one. Yeah, it'll fit in that one. It's really this point is really thick. This point is kind of thin. Well made. Snapped in 2 places. You know, a lot of these are made of translucent cherts. That edge is pretty good quality. It looks blurry to me. Let's see. Yeah, maybe that's better. This has a good edge on this side. This one on here, however, doesn't look that great as far as edge quality goes. I don't know what happened to this one, but that edge is nice. Skillful. Yep. Let's see. Let's go with 40 millimeter by 5. That's 8-to-1. But it's wonky. It's probably a knife. It'd be hard to align that on a little dart foreshaft. It's not impossible, but it's probably difficult to do that way. It looks like broken in manufacture. Yeah, so it's not done yet, but they finished out the base first. Stem. Let's see. Let me get some. These are my reverse indirect punches I just made, but I want to compare the diameter of the tip to the obvious punch work or pressure work done in these notches. It's probably done with a tool similar to this. Some of them have obvious notch work that you can see the thickness of the tip of the tool that they were using. Let me see. Is there a way for me to get a darker background so we can see? It's just a slightly a bit smaller than this tip to create the notch. This is a high grade chert with high grade skill. Very little rework on the edges. Very thick, very curved point. Heat damaged after the fact. Just out of curiosity, I should be doing this with every one of them. It's 25 by 6, 4-to-1. With the thickness ratio. This is a high grade chert. This one is pretty straight and flat. So these are not from the same time period, okay? So they're different cultures and different time periods, not all the same nappers. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Many different nappers nap these. This one's got a slight twist. So I mentioned that because if there's a lot of nappers napping these, the techniques are going to be different from each other. The tools are going to be different from each other. We don't know exactly what tools they used because there were so many different nappers. Everyone seems to have their own preferences for tools. This is a Pandale, looks like. Not all of them have twists in them. And this is a tough chert. The edges are not sharp. This is a projectile point. Most likely, who knows? This one definitely has a twist in it. Same edge quality all the way around. So they didn't do the base edge work differently than they do the sides on this one anyway. Little pressure flakes there. Little touch-up pressure flakes. Looks like some on the side here too. Probably impact snap. I see a lot of impact fractures in all this stuff. All these different kind of points, no matter what the size is, they can be this size or that size. They get impact fractures. So they were throwing them all, or they found some way to use their knives to create serious impact damage. Now that's a good thinning flake right there. I think I've already shown this in a previous video, so I might be repeating some of these. But it looks like broken in manufacture because the edge does not look finished at all. Let's say 63 by 10, 6:1. Preliminary shaping, but the stem looks pretty well shaped already. Yeah, some of these are just worked flakes. I think this is a stem down here. That's a tip broken off. Yeah, like the similar type. Edge quality not good at all. Interesting point. The tip is nice and skinny. It's heat damaged, obviously. The edge work is really good. It's probably a, oh gosh, what do they call these? Langtrees? Yeah. I like it when they're like this. Let's see. Yeah, the tip to do that notch was smaller than this. I like this style because it shows a lot of care in doing the notching and stuff. And it's kind of symmetrical. Tiny, smaller than the average. And that'll dart point. And there's a twist in that tip. Pretty sharp. Kind of on this side it's sharp, not that side. Nice notch. The only thing to survive on that one was the notch. Yeah, this is a big barb on this one. Don't worry, the artifacts get better. These are kind of crude. Although they're all mixed together, different skill levels. Looks like a drill, or attempted to be a drill. It's still too wonky to be a real drill as far as I'm concerned. You would need to refine the edge a little bit to drill in wood. They might have been just using it as a crude knife and it broke. Yeah, peternalis stem and barbs. This was nice quality. This chert reminds me of some of that light colored chert I was recently napping. $40 by 10, 4-1. Yeah. 40 by 10. No, I'm sorry. By 6. Gotta go by the 0. 40 by 6. So that's like 7-1. Or between 6-1 and 7-1. Alright, this one's a Fairland, I think. Kind of crude. The edge is not good at all. Some of these edges are really good. Even if it's wonky, this edge is pretty good. That's not that good. Anyway, they vary. Lots of steppiness. Impact damage or something went on. That's impact damage for sure. Heat damage. See, the tip on here is not that great, so I don't feel too bad about messing up the tips on mine. This one's got a bulky area on the tip right there. Of course, it might not be finished. But I don't feel so bad when I see the little bulky area on the tip, like right there. This one's got a good tip on it. Yeah, that's the inside of a notch right there. Step fractures. Looks like it was quickly made. Yeah, this was a Nolan. You can tell right away by the way they make the stems. Alright. 24 minutes. Let's do a smaller bag. Not too many items in this bag. I'm going to cut it off at 30 minutes. Now these are scrapers and saws and stuff. These are called sequent flake scrapers. these things. And they're held like this, I assume. But to me, this looks like a saw. You know, you can put your thumb in that depression right there, and you can saw it really easy. Yeah, and you can resharpen it easily. There's not much wear; it's still kind of sharp. Right there it is, but this feels nice and polished right in here. So there's some of those in here. Let's see what else. This one's got an edge right there, and you can put your thumb in this depression right there. And it does feel like a saw that you can saw with. Let's see, where do we... Another sequent flake right there. See, made in the same kind of way. And this is done when you zigzag the edge and remove a square edge. You get a lot of these when you remove square edges. But yeah, it feels like it could be a scraper, but this edge is not straight enough to scrape well, so it looks more like a saw, because it doesn't need to have a really straight edge to be a good saw. And it could be for cutting off plants like a sickle. You know, grab the tuft of plants and cut it off like a sickle. So all of these are just modified flakes. The rest of these. They could have made something else out of it, but instead they just use it as some kind of a knife or a saw. I'm going to bag these up individually also. So yeah, if I were to use some of these, they would just be saws or knives. This one's kind of hefty. It might be left-handed. Tough chert. But definitely worked on these edges. This does look like a scraper. It's nice and even. It looks like a scraper for sure. Or what I would use as a scraper. This is a sequent flake. And that one does look like a scraper, because it has a nice even edge to it. It's effective for scraping. If it does not have an even edge, it's not effective for scraping. That one has an edge that's still very sharp. It looks like it's in pristine condition, like it was never used. Or if it was just scraping very delicate stuff that was not damaging the edge. This one looks pretty dinged up. This one's still in good shape. Nice and hefty. Alright, on to the next video.